This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we get new Marvel Spider-Man 3 news from a very reliable source. Could a new PlayStation State of Play event be coming soon? Well, according to sources, it could be happening way faster than we all think. The Nintendo Switch 2's price has allegedly leaked again, but this time it does seem to come with a bit of a catch. And for anyone like myself hoping that gas games would slow down, well, according to a new report, that does not look to be the case. But all of these stories can be found here and more in episode 240 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Keon Mitchell, and welcome to the show. Welcome. Come on in, sit down, kick your shoes off, and relax, because we're going to have a great conversation this evening. Or if you are traveling, whether it's by car, by bus, or by train, hopefully we can accompany you to your destination. Now, as always, if you do want to be a part of listener feedback, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in, and the phone number is 443-627-9087 to let your voice literally be heard. Or if you want to shoot an email over to us, we would be happy to read it. And the email address that you can send it to is simple. It's the name of the show. It is the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Now, guys, a whole lot of things have happened this week in the gaming space. But before we get into the news, I want to just share just a quick story before we get into the stories. Now, this was about 2 weeks ago. Man, I had a blast. Man, it was maybe about 3 weeks ago, closer to 3 weeks ago. I had went over to my uncle's house. Shout out to Uncle Leon. It was phenomenal. We were looking at the Ravens versus the Browns. Now, we all know what happened to my Ravens. God dog, it hurts. Oh, it hurts so bad what happened to us. But you know what? Shout out to the Bills. They won the game fair and square, and I'm actually going up to Buffalo later on tonight. So, God dog, oh, the irony of that. But what I wanted to say, though, was it was always a dream of mine. And I got to shout out my two brothers, Mark and Renard. It was always a dream of ours to actually make video games. So much so, we wanted to go to the Art Institute of Philadelphia. I didn't get a chance to go, man. Brother parents ain't had the money. Just couldn't make it happen. But that was the dream, to actually make a game. And 3 weekends ago, my brother Mark, man, he actually made his own game, and it's actually called 2000s R&B Karaoke Trivia Drinking Card Game. Now, this thing was absolutely incredible because, you know, I love R&B. Probably couldn't tell. Hey, Mark, you probably couldn't tell I loved it during the course of those rounds as I was losing. I had a couple of joints that I was getting together, right? Whole bunch of them that were wrong, but he actually made a game, and I just want to let you guys know, man, listen to this. Just imagine this. Welcome to the ultimate throwback party with the 2000s R&B Karaoke Trivia Drinking Card Game. Now, this game combines the best R&B hits of the 2000s, fun trivia, and lighthearted competition into one unforgettable experience. Sing your heart out to iconic tracks, test your knowledge of 2000s R&B legends, and take on hilarious challenge. Oh man, we had some funny stuff going on. Hilarious challenges, all while sipping and having a blast with your friends, whether you're hosting a party, gathering with friends, or having a game night. This is the perfect game to keep the energy flowing and the nostalgia alive. I'm telling you, the link is in the description. If you are having a get together, man, we had so much fun. It was a blast, and I'm so proud of them for actually making a game that I could have never done. So if you want to support my good brother Mark with this great game, click the description click the link in the description and show your support. And once again, Mark, I salute you, my brother. I've known this man for over 30 years, and I'm just so proud to see him actually make his dreams come true. So salute to you, my good brother. Now, with that being said, guys, I want to run through something else that happened this week, and it was Phantom Blade Zero. Did y'all see the graphics? Whoo! The graphics on that game. When he was fighting those enemies, it was like 5 of them. They had them in a circle. They had swords and all kinds of stuff. I said, S Game is not playing around with y'all right now. That game looks really, really promising. And if it is not a Souls-like game, if it is not that kind of genre, but more of an action-adventure game, you can count me in. That game looks really, really good. They also said during that trailer that the release date, or at least the release year or month or whatever the case may be, will be revealed sometime this year. So who's to say? I don't think we're going to get a 2025 release, but we might. It might just happen a little later down the line, but we will see. But guys, I think it is time to go ahead and get into what we all come here for. And that is no doubt the gaming news that went down. So let's go ahead, guys, and let's get things started with a story that I got from Newsfeed. So this first story is an update on Star Wars Jedi 3. Now, the first thing to note is the absence of Stig Asmussen. Now, that's the brother's last name. At least that's how it's spelled to me. It's spelled Asmussen. Maybe Asmussen. Yeah. That's the brother's name, Asmussen, who played a major role when it came to the gameplay character development of Cal Kestis and the plot of both Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. Now, he left Respawn and EA last September and founded Giant Skull to develop his own single-player action-adventure third-person title, and has also taken a few senior developers with him to work on his new project. Now, also, the next Jedi game will be using Unreal Engine 5. Man, y'all know how I feel about the Unreal Engine 5 engine. But hold on, let me pump the brakes right there just for 1 minute. You know what? Let's not. Let's just continue going. The development of the third game has been in development not too long. They actually started development on the third game not too long after Jedi Survivor released back in 2023. And that information was revealed by Cameron Monaghan, who plays the main protagonist in the Jedi games, Cal Kestis. So that's coming from a very valid source. He's actually one of the actors in the game who was letting everybody know that the third game has already been underway not too long after the last game actually came out. So this game has been in the works probably close to 2 years now, somewhere around there. So yes, it's steadily, making its rounds, as it were. Now, also during an EA Investor Day 2024 presentation, it was revealed that this next Jedi game would be the final chapter in the series. Now, as far as the release year is concerned, because the title started development back in 2023, it would appear that going off of the previous 2 titles, taking 5 and 4 years to release, it could probably put this title out to 2028, because of the shakeup of, golly, it's the shakeup there at the studio. They're losing key developers on the franchise and senior team talent, also leaving the project as well as the, as well as, one of the big, guys, leaving the team, to actually start his own company. And on top of that, they also have to get acclimated with using Unreal Engine 5. So all of those factors, this game probably isn't going to be, it's not going to release until around like 2028. So, with all of that being said, I have bigger questions though. With that big of a shakeup, with the main guy who's in charge of, or who was in charge of, the plot of the game, the development of the main character, Cal, as well as just playing such a pivotal role in this franchise, this Star Wars franchise, as far as the games are concerned, I'm worried about where does the talent level go. When he went and he took some of those senior developers with him, what kind of state is that going to put this game in? Now, we have seen time and time again that just because one of the main guys that actually worked on a game, or one of the main directors who actually worked on a game, leaves, it doesn't necessarily mean that the project is doomed from the beginning. We've seen it with when Cory Barlog, when he didn't work on the last God of War Ragnarok, which I still don't understand why it got so much flack. That game was way better. It was much better than God of War 2018. The boss fights were better, way more epic, a whole lot of different enemy types on the screen. They brought in various other characters as well as returning characters. Way better game. But so many people, I'm not going to say so many, some people will have you believe, or have me believe, that 2018 was better than Ragnarok. Man, get the heck out of here. You are crazy if you think that. But I'm just saying that to say that Cory Barlog, just because he wasn't on Ragnarok, didn't make that a worse game. Just because Amy Hennig, some people may say that because Amy Hennig wasn't on Uncharted 4, that it made it a worse game. Uncharted 4, to be honest with you, it is not my favorite in the franchise. It's a bit of a midpoint to me. I can't say it was mid. It was a good game. It was good. I enjoyed it. It didn't drop off too much. For me, I just wished it had more action, but the story was really well done. The graphics, the gameplay, it was nothing necessarily wrong with it. I just wished it had more action. But we saw that Neil Druckmann, he actually took the reins of that game, and it was still a successful game. So again, we've seen this happen time and time again. We know that unfortunately in the gaming industry, it's a revolving door. One day somebody's in, by 12 o'clock, that same person is out the door. It's just unfortunately the way that the industry works. So hopefully, with all of that being said, that it's not going to be Jedi Fallen Order. It's going to be Jedi something. Hopefully the third iteration will be just as great as the first two. But let's go ahead though, guys, and let's get into the next story that I actually got from PSU. Now, this next story is kind of short and sweet, and it's coming from insider Nate the Hate, who did, to his credit, successfully predict the Switch 2's reveal date. Now, he was asked on Twitter if he knew anything about the next State of Play event, where he answered by simply saying, and I quote, "How's February sound?" End of quote. Now, we can take that a couple of different ways. This could not be a real answer. He could just be simply saying, man, how's February sound? How would that feel for you? How does that sound? Would that be great? Would that work for you? And it's really no real merit to it. Or he could have been simply saying it in a way of, how's February sound? Pretty much saying and confirming that there is something going on in February when it comes to PlayStation and a new state of play. Now, I would caution this rumor because that's what it is. It is rumors. We don't have anything coming from Sony right now. I looked online before I started the podcast just to be on the safe side. Nothing has been said by PlayStation about a state of play or anything. But the same thing just happened with Nintendo last week when I was recording, and I looked right before I started recording to see if it was confirmed that Nintendo was actually going to have that reveal event for the Switch 2. Nothing happened. Woke up at around 9 o'clock that morning of the day when it was supposed to happen. And I look and I see IGN actually talking about it, like an hour after it happened. So just because we haven't heard anything from Sony, and it's still January, to be fair, we're getting into the later days of January, but it's still nonetheless January. So hopefully it will happen. We heard that PlayStation was supposed to be doing something. What was it? Sometime in December, right before the Game Awards. That never accumulated into anything. So hopefully this will be something that we can look forward to. Maybe we get a deeper dive of Ghost of Tsushima. Well, it's not Tsushima. Ghost of Yotai. Maybe we get a dive into Wolverine. Something like that. Maybe some newer games that are coming out from PlayStation. Maybe we even get a deeper dive into Death Stranding 2, which, I didn't write this down, but it has been said that game, the actors at least, have wrapped up pretty much filming and doing their lines of dialogue, things of that nature. The capture, the motion capture has already been done, looks like. So that game is moving steadily along. Hopefully, maybe we see something on that as well, because PlayStation, and we're going to get to it. PlayStation is looking a little wild right now to a certain degree, as it were. I think for the better, but we'll get there when we get there. But anyway, though, guys, we'll see what happens with this State of Play event. Hopefully it does happen. Like I say, I would love to see some newer games, get at least a bit of a roadmap as to what PlayStation is going to be doing in 2025, because contrary to popular belief, they had games releasing last year. Matter of fact, they had the biggest game released last year, Astro Bot, because it actually won Game of the Year. Shout out to Asobi. My dog. Jokers was mad at PlayStation. They ain't got no game. Hey, you jokers are crazy. They had Final Fantasy. I ain't got to go through the list. We'll just see what happens with this State of Play event, and we'll take it from there. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's go on and let's get into the next story that I actually got from the Direct. Now, I just mentioned it in the last story, but last week on January 16th, and I got to say, to my surprise, we got our first official look at the Nintendo Switch 2, along with a look at Mario Kart. That Mario Kart didn't look like it was doing too much. But anyway, besides that point, we will find out more information when it comes to the Switch 2 on April 2nd. So, that's when the full reveal is going to happen. And I'm sure, it'll include the launch lineup, the specs, and the official price. Now let's key in on that price just a little bit. Now we have some new unofficial pricing numbers from @SpecialNick, which he's reporting there will be two SKUs prices. Now one is going to be $449.99. And the other one is going to be $499.99. So Nick said this, and I quote, "So if the person who told me June release is all but confirmed to be correct, then that could mean the pricing they gave me of $449/$499 USD might also be correct. Think the $50 extra is a Mario Kart bundle." End of quote. So pretty much now, this is so interesting because we have heard for weeks now that there have been report after report after report. Again, rumors, absolutely nothing has been confirmed by Nintendo thus far. But we have been seeing a pattern that June, the summer, sometime in June, this game is going to be released. Developers saying that this game is going to be released in June. And now we get just a little bit of a clearer picture. Because in April, again, April 2nd is when they're going to show the console in all of its glory. Sure, multiple games, like I said, are going to be shown. The power, the prowess of this thing is probably going to be shown off during that time. But the release date, that is the interesting part, because it is in April when they're going to be showing it off. Is it a possibility that the reports that we've seen thus far leading to a June release date could be true? Now, I'm thinking of it from this perspective. If it's going to be shown in April, then you know what? We can always do this by looking at a pattern. Let me look up something real quick, and we're going to explore this together just a little bit. Let's see something. When was the original Switch revealed?
According to Wikipedia, the Switch was unveiled on October 20th, 2016. The concept came about as Nintendo's reaction to financial losses attributed to poor sales of the Wii U and market competition from mobile games.
All right, so October 20th, that's when it was unveiled. But it didn't actually release until March. So you're talking about November, December, January, February. So you're talking about 5 months. So if we're talking about April, then that's going to definitely take us past the summer months. If we're just going off of patterns, off of past behavior, we're talking about, let's see, April, May, June, July, August. So that's going to line up to about September, which to me is actually, that lines up perfectly. I thought that a summertime release would be different. It would be odd. But I also thought that a March release of the original Switch was very odd, and it sold well. But if it lines up with that 5-month period of the previous Switch, how long it took for it to come to market, if that timeline lines up, then September may be where we're headed. I don't know if Nintendo was going to go into November or December, not December. Nobody does December, but November. I think that Nintendo may feel very comfortable releasing in September. That's when consoles used to release back in the day. So we know that Nintendo, they do things to their own tune. They don't really follow the crowd too much. And this could be a possibility that it may release in September instead of June. So that price, again, it's only a rumor. We don't know 100% what's going to happen. But at that price point, God, dog, $400 to $449.99. Y'all see the question. And this is where it stems from this week. So I won't get too much into what I'm thinking about the Nintendo Switch 2 at the moment, because we're going to cover that at the end of the podcast. But just think about that. And, I'm sorry, $4.99. Now that's allegedly supposed to be a Mario Kart bundle. But would you actually pay that much? $4.99 for a Mario Kart bundle and the Switch 2. That is how much a PlayStation 5 and a Series X costs. I don't know about this. We're going to cover this a little later in the podcast, but for the sake of time, let's go ahead and let's move into the next story that I actually got from The Gamer. So according to insider Tom Henderson, a Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake is, quote, well into development, end of quote, and is targeting a November 2025 release date. Now that timeline could change because of Assassin's Creed Shadows being delayed, but also to add more validity to this story, An unnamed Ubisoft game designer's LinkedIn profile is also reporting that the Black Flag remake is being developed on the upgraded Anvil engine and will be more than just a graphics overhaul. It's also being reported, man, that's crazy. I hope it is more than just a graphical overhaul, but it's also being reported as well by MP First that the game will feature new systems for wildlife and combat. Now, the team is hoping the changes will make the original and, quote, outstanding game to rebirth as the next gen AAA game, end of quote. So I know that Black Flag, that was one of the Assassin's Creeds I never played. That was probably one of the early games that I gave away on the podcast. This was years ago. I forgot who won that game. I don't think it was Cody Clark. I don't think it was Goose. This was like the early days of the podcast. So was it Mike J? I don't know who it was, but somebody actually answered the question correctly. And I gave him the code to Assassin's Creed Black Flag because it was actually a pack-in with the Xbox One. I didn't think I was really going to play it. I wasn't really into Assassin's Creed at that time. So I was like, man, this would be a good prize to give away. Matter of fact, hold on. You know what? I'm glad I'm talking about this. I want to ask y'all something. Now, for you listeners that have been listening for years, and man, I really, really appreciate the support. Thank y'all so much. But for you guys that have been around for a long time, y'all remember I used to give away 2 gift cards a month. It would either be a PlayStation gift card, it'd be an Xbox gift card, or a Nintendo eShop card. I used to give those out every month because I just really, really appreciate you guys listening. Now, you might have noticed over the last year and some change since I've been back, I haven't really been giving out the cards. And I stopped doing it because I only asked that if you didn't want to email the show because that might take too long, just send a voice message in, call in and let me know that you got it, just so I wouldn't keep on reading off the same number and somebody being like, man, this has already been used. I got a little frustrated. I'm like, man, I'm just asking if you could just let me know that you got it. Got it, done. I shout you out on the show. That's it. So I stopped doing it. I'm just curious to know if I was to bring it back, because I want to bring it back. It was fun for me to know that I could at least put $20 or $25 towards your next purchase of whatever game you were going to get. I truly enjoyed it, but it started to become a situation where I'm reading off the numbers and somebody's like, they would eventually get to me and be like, oh, no, that's already been used. And I'm like, oh, man. So I'm just asking. The only thing I'm asking is if I was to bring it back, if you guys would like me to bring it back, let me know. But if I was to bring it back, the only thing I'm asking is just to let me know that you redeemed it. That way I can stop reading off the numbers and having people thinking, man, this joker lying to us. This card already been used. You already used the card, Keon. I'm like, brother, I never used it. I put it on the podcast, read off the numbers for you to use it, so I'm just asking that if I was to bring it back, just do me that one favor and just let me know that you got it, and that's it. We can move on. So just let me know if you want me to bring that back, guys. But anyway, what we're going to do, hold on one second. What we're going to do, though, this Assassin's Creed story, I'm very interested in it. Never played it. It sounded like a great game. They had the shanties from what I heard on the ship and all of that good stuff. Hopefully, this will be more than just a graphical upgrade like they were talking about different systems and the wildlife. I don't know what part the wildlife played in this game, but if it did play a major role, then hopefully they can enhance it and make it even better. But this is definitely a game that I'm keeping my eye on because it looked good. It really did. It looked really good when I saw it before. Just gave it away as a prize, but let me know if you guys are interested in this, and we will move on in to the next story. And the next story I got was actually Yeah, I got this story from Twisted Voxel. So I got to switch back to PlayStation again because not anymore than 2 weeks ago, I mentioned Sony Bend Studios working on their new unannounced gas game. But just like football, God, dog, just like football, this gaming industry is unpredictable. Who the world thought that Andrews was going to drop the ball in the end zone? God, dog, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. But anyway, let's get back on track. I'm working through this, people. But this week we're getting a report from Jeff Grubb on the Game Mess Decides latest episode that because of Concord's failure, it shook PlayStation up so much they have now pulled the plug. Not only on Sony Bend's new project, but also Blue Point Games live service game as well. Now, Grubb saying Sony has been, and I quote, Grubb said Sony has been, quote, shell-shocked, end of quote, so much so that they have now canceled 8 out of the 12 live games that they had in development. So some were a Bungie Pack. These were some of the projects they had. It was called Bungie Pack. The other one was called Twisted Metal. God, dog, we heard about that one some time ago. So that got canceled. The Spider-Man online game got canceled as well. That actually looked interesting. That looked pretty good, but it probably wouldn't have gone too far. But anyway, that got canceled. And of course, one of the most famous ones out of this list, Last of Us Factions, who got canceled. And a God of War gas game also got canceled. Now, God of War gas game, man, I don't know about a God of War gas game. Oh, gosh, that is hurt. That is hurt to the third degree. And matter of fact, that was supposed to be, I believe, Blue Point was working on that game. God, dog, Sony, yeah, you needed to cancel that. Oh, man. Yeah. That should have never even been a thought. A God of War gas game? Yeah, dog. So, yeah, I mean, 8 of their gas games or games as a service has been canceled, and I couldn't be more thrilled about it. We've seen this pattern with Sony a couple of times out the gate, and they have not really been able to nail it down. So I am very happy that they read the room and they saw that this is not necessarily what your player base goes to you for. Now, granted, I understand these games make money. They make a lot of money. If you get one and it's a hit, oh man, that income every month. Oh, it's sweet. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's good. But when it's not and it's a failure, oh, you lose your shirt and everything else when it comes down to it. So for them actually reeling it back a little bit, taking it in like, man, let's get rid of these 8. You know, we're going to have some that are going to release, but let's knock down the number of these, you know, as it were, you know, to make sure that we're giving our fan base what they want, which is single player, cinematic, story-driven experiences. That's what we really want. And I will say this may be a great thing when it comes to Sony Bend Studios, because we know that they wanted to make a Days Gone 2, and it got shot down. No, y'all are not making that. Y'all are going to make this. Now, to be fair, let's look up and let's see how many copies did that game actually sell, because anybody that has a successful product, they will want to make a continuation of that product. So let's just see, before we jump the gun, how many copies Days Gone sold. How many copies did Days Gone sell?
9 million copies.
9
According
million?
to 80 Level, Days Gone, the zombie survival game by Bend Studio, was originally released on PlayStation in April 2019, with a Windows port released in May 2021. Ross revealed in January 2022 that the game had sold around 9 million copies, outpacing Ghost of Tsushima's 8 million sales.
God dang, and we see that Ghost got a sequel. Oh, man. It sold 9 million copies, and they said, nah, we don't want you to do that anymore. But yet Ghost sells 8. Oh, man, you get a sequel. Bravo, Sucker Punch. It did amazing. Man, let's see if we can, God darn, man. All right, let's see the budget. Let's see if we can find the budget. How much did Days Gone cost to make? I don't give a daggone thing. Let me see. How much did, hold on. We got something here. The game's development took approximately 6 years. Bend Studio expanded nearly threefold to support it. Major sources of inspiration. No, that's not it. Well, they said, okay, Days Gone. Director says Ben's project cost over, shucks. This game cost over $250 million to make. God, dog, that's a lot of darn money. $250 million over. Well, shucks. Well, let's see. How much did Ghost of Tsushima cost to develop?
According to X, Ghost of Tsushima is a huge success compared to its cost. It cost $60 million, sold more than 7.5 million copies, and achieved revenues estimated at $397 million.
Oh, shucks. You got to be kidding me. Did it say it cost $60 million? No way that game cost $60 million and Days Gone cost $250. No way. Hold on, man. It says Ghost of Tsushima surpasses 13 million units sold, potentially generating an estimated $780 million in revenue at an average price of $60 with potential for more due to the $70 PS5 director's cut. Development costs, the game had a surprisingly low budget of $60 million for a AAA title, especially given its 6-year, I'm taking it, dev cycle. Oh, man. Darn.
Show me the money.
Wow, that's what daggone Sony says. Show me the darn money. Y'all cost $60 million. Y'all made us, what was that, $780 million in revenue. And Days Gone, y'all cost us $250. Oh, shucks, man. Well. Man, let's get the heck out of here. Oh, we got to go. Oh, yeah, we got to get the heck on. Dag, Ben. Well, that makes a lot of sense to me. Why you might not have got the green light for a sequel. God darn. Let's go ahead, man. I mean, before we move on, holy smoke. How the world did they make that for $60 million? Ghost of Tsushima is a beautiful looking game. And it cost $60 million. Jeez, man. Christmas. Listen. Oh, shucks. I don't know if Days Gonna get there, brothers. I don't know if that's gonna happen. I don't know if that's gonna materialize. Oh, that's a lot. All right, well, God, dog. Well, let's see if it covered the spread. Now we're just going down a rabbit hole. How much did Days Gone generate in revenue?
According to Steam Revenue Calculator, we estimate that Days Gone made $202,226,296.65 inches gross revenue since its release. Out of this, the developer had an estimated net revenue of $59,656,757.51. Refer to the revenue table for a full breakdown of these numbers.
I ain't going to do all that, but I'm looking at what the gross says. It said 202 million. It grossed. That ain't 250. Ooh, they lost, what's that about? They lost 48 million on that deal? Oh, shucks. God damn. Oh, man. I don't know if we're going to see a Days Gone 2. God dog, and I'm playing that game right now, and it is absolutely astonishing. It is a fantastic game, but daggone, that's a lot of money to lose. But the thing is, in this report, it's coming from a Steam revenue calculator. It's saying it had an estimated net revenue of 59 million. But I'm looking at the gross revenue of 202 million, and it didn't cover the spread of the 250 million. Anyway, I don't know. Look, listen, I'm being long-winded with this. My apologies. I got caught up in the numbers and all of that stuff, but we'll see what happens with Sony and this gas game situation. I'm glad they canceled that God of War gas game. Hopefully they will put what's their name again? Blue Point on another project, something else to develop, another remake of sorts, because we know that, man, Blue Point is amazing at their remakes. They do remakes incredibly well. I mean, if you haven't played Shadow of the Colossus, the remake, God, dog, gorgeous game, man. It was beautiful for the time when they released it, but we'll see. Again, I'm glad to see that Sony is reading the room. They know their crowd, they know their fan base, and they're lowering the numbers of these gas games that are releasing. So hopefully they stay on that track, and hopefully very soon, like it's been rumored, that a state of play will be coming up soon, and they can give us at least a bit of a roadmap to show us what they have coming out this year. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's move on into the next story that I actually got from Softonic. Now, Conrad, now this brother's last name, I know I'm a butcher the heck out of it, but Conrad Tomaszewski, it's spelled, goddamn, pardon me, it's spelled Tomas, Tomas, Z, Tomas, K-I-E, with a W-I-C-Z. Dog, Tomaszewski. Well, anyway, I know I butchered that gentleman's name, and pardon me, Mr. Conrad, for doing that, brother. It was no offense. Just a hard name, last name to pronounce. But, anyway, we all know him, though. We all know his work because he was the director on The Witcher 3. And he has announced his new project with his new video game studio that he founded called Rebel Wolves. Now, the title of his new project is called The Blood of Dawn Walker. Now, as far as the premise of the game goes, it will delve into a dark and fantastical world focusing on a protagonist named Cohen, who experiences duality, meaning he's human by the day and vampire by night. Now, the narrative of the project is inspired by archetypes like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, offering a unique exploration of the hero's duality. And the reason for this is because Conrad, which is the director, the guy who founded, his new studio, Rebel Wolves. The reason why this is because Conrad wanted to move away from the traditional superheroes to create a more complex and vulnerable character who must face his weaknesses during the day and develop supernatural abilities at nightfall. And because of this, it will provide a new dimension to the game's narrative development. Now, this is the thing. I saw the trailer of this game. Matter of fact, I didn't finish the trailer. Let me see if I can bring it up right now. I'm just curious to see if we can get there, because it was a very, very interesting looking trailer. If I can bring it up. Let me see something. So, yeah, this, it looks really, really good. Matter of fact, here we go. I'm about to look it up now. Where is it? Blood. Yeah, Blood of Dawn Walker. Here we go. So, man, we haven't done video game theater in a while. We're going to go ahead. We ain't going to look at the whole thing, but I will definitely do something. All right, let's see what we got here. That thing came in hot, didn't it? Let's see. All right.
Lunka. My sister. She needs help. Fast. Please, let us pass through. I beg of you. Please. Please. I don't know. How?
I am life. I am death. I am everything in between. I have been watching your little valley. Pestilence, famine, killing. Blood spilt carelessly, like water. Things will be different now. For all of you.
Oh, snap. This Joker got gameplay in it. Oh, shucks. Oh. Oh, God, dog, the Blood of Dawn. Well, God darn, that's my first time seeing the gameplay. Shucks. Oh, man. Man, they said the gameplay is going to actually be coming out this summer of 2025. Darn, I can see, whoa, you can definitely see the inspiration. Now, I know he worked on The Witcher 3, but you can kind of see that on full doggone display. Now, I would recommend, if you are a Witcher fan, now you can never tell how these things are going to work out. We've had Bungie developers who have done excellent work over at Bungie. They go off and they do their own thing. They're not successful. We've seen it time and time again. These different developers, they will get their own studio and it just doesn't quite hit the same. But I can tell you from what I saw, the video footage that looked like gameplay, man, this dude might actually have something with this. I'm very interested to see what this looks like this summer. So I would recommend, again, keep your eyes on this game, and it's called Blood of Dawn Walker. Looks very, very interesting. And if you are a Witcher fan, a Witcher 3 fan, I would say it looks like it's really leaning into that kind of heavy. This should be interesting, but let's go ahead though, guys. God dog. Yeah, I really didn't see that gameplay up until now. So yeah, that was dope. But anyway, though, we got to go ahead and move on into the next story that I actually got from Kit Guru. Now, this is quick news. So Sony hosted a PlayStation Live tournament event in London where Team Asobi, y'all know I love them jokers, man. Team Asobi, doggone it. Team Asobi showed off a new level at the final show during the tournament for the first time. Now, it's worth noting that Team Asobi has not officially commented on the brand new, and I will add, brand new 2-player level, but maybe sometime in the near future, we'll hear something about this. Team Asobi has been absolutely remarkable when it comes to actually continuing to show support to Astrobot, and it's free content. Y'all remember, man, I'm all tongue-tied. Dog, hold on. Let me get it together. Y'all remember, man, it was a couple of months ago. They had a new level release every week for, what was it, like 4 weeks? Was it a month? It was like multiple levels released, and it was all for free. It's so hard to find that nowadays. They want you to pay for DLC, pay for this, pay for that. But Sony has made it a bit of a pattern, though, around the holidays, at least from last year to this year, because they did it again with Astrobot. But they have seemed to make it a bit of a point to give their player base something for free, and it's worth noting. It's not just a little throwaway thing that they give away for free. They give you something of substance for free just to let you know that they appreciate you. Last year, it was Valhalla inside of God of War Ragnarok, that extra DLC, which was free, I might add, and I played it, didn't finish it yet, but doggone, that was not a throwaway. It had some throwbacks in that game to previous characters in other God of Wars, and it was absolutely fantastic. So then they do this with Team Asobi this year with the free levels, and now at this PlayStation event over in London, Team Asobi shows up again with another new level. Now, who knows? It could have been a situation where maybe that level was just specifically for that PlayStation Live tournament again in London, and it won't be released to the public, but I can't fathom the thought or think that they would do all of that work and not want to share it with the community. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with this. We'll see what happens further down the line, but it would be awesome to have another level, another free level, and it's a 2-player level at that, release, on top of the other levels that Team Asobi has already done. We will see. Astrobot, I'm going to get to it eventually. Right now, I'm trying to finish up Days Gone, and like I said before, that game is really good. The story has got me semi on the edge of my seat with little moments. It's this one moment where it's this young lady. I don't want to ruin it. I'll just say, if you played the game and you know about the young lady that you're dealing with, you know what I'm talking about. Things happen. She ain't where she's supposed to be, and I'm trying to find her. So the game continues to just do very, very well when it comes to the storytelling for me. And the gameplay, I'm getting more and more used to it. I'm upgrading my bike. Things are just clicking with me in that game right now, and I am really, really enjoying it. Didn't know it didn't make its money back, but yeah, dog. I mean, that definitely plays a factor, I'm sure, as to, PlayStation possibly saying, I don't know if we can give you a sequel, but hopefully they will let Sony Ben take another crack at it. Maybe they don't have to get up to $250 million to make the game. Maybe they can do it for a lower budget and not lose any of its graphical fidelity or just lose any of the quality of the game. But we'll see, though. But let's go ahead, though, guys, and let's get into some news that I actually got from Sony, since we're talking about Sony, Team Asobi, and all of that stuff. Insomniac, and y'all know this, Insomniac is by far, they are in my top 5. And I say this with all of the how could I say this? I say this with all of the carriage in the world. They are the top 5. They're in my top 5 best developer studios in the gaming industry today. But I just found out today, and this was something that kind of blew my wig off, even though I'm bald-headed, that today, president and founder of Insomniac Games, Ted Price, is actually retiring after 30 years. And he said this in his blog post. He said this, and I quote, "I actually made this decision last year. For me, after over 30 years of leading Insomniac, I felt it was simply time to step aside and let others pave the way for our team." End of quote. dog, going after 30 years, man, that's tough. So with him leaving, and I'm sure just like me, you would want to know who is taking over his spot and who's going to be doing his duties. Well, he said this in the same blog, and I quote, so also today, I'm extremely happy to announce that Chad Dezern, Ryan Schneider, and Jen Huang, will become Insomniac Games' new co-studio heads. End of quote. Now, Jen, I'm very familiar with his name. I've seen his name time and time again when it comes to Insomniac. I'm not too sure about Chad Dezern and Ryan Schneider. Their names don't ring a bell to me, but Jen's definitely does. But what I will say is, as a person who is a fan, and I mean a huge fan of Ratchet and Clank, which I will say is one of the best platformers. Pardon me, give me 1 second. I'm trying to get over this cough. Pardon me, brothers and sisters. But I would say that Ratchet and Clank is one of the greatest platformers out there. I would compare it or put it up there with Mario. I would put it up there with Astrobot. You name it. Any platformer you want to put up against Ratchet and Clank, I would say bring it. They are absolutely magicians when it comes to that franchise. I like Ratchet and Clank, and y'all listen, man, I gotta say this. I like Ratchet and Clank more than the doggone Spider-Man games, if I'm being honest.
Move this man.
Shucks. God dag. Well, daggone, can I live in my truth? Can I live in my doggone truth? I'm telling you, Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart was a better game to me than Spider-Man 2. It was a better game. It was just better. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the graphics. I enjoyed the gameplay. I enjoyed the character development. I mean, Spider-Man 2, it was definitely a banger. Golly, that game was really good. It was great even. It was great. But that gameplay of Ratchet and Clank, it was just a more fun game. It was so much fun. And the weapons, oh my gosh, the weapons in Ratchet and Clank Ripped Apart. Oh my goodness, just the story, the gameplay. I felt like I was playing a Pixar movie. Oh, it was incredible. So I am just a fan, a huge fan of Insomniac Games. Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2. Their track record is incredible. And the way that they turn games around, they had Sony, they had PlayStation on their back. They were carrying them for years. Turning out games over and over again. I mean, their output has got to be the best that Sony has. I mean, doggone, these jokers is doggone Joe Barrow. I ain't gonna say that. Joe Barrow got bad. He got a bad team. Lamar Jackson. I mean, they just make things happen. And I don't want to hear about Lamar choking in the playoffs. He did darn good in that second half. I mean, yeah, he made his mistakes. He fumbled. Okay, he threw an interception. I get it. But he more than made up for it. I'm not going to excuse his mistakes, but he made up for it in the second half. He did. He marched the team down there. Didn't work out. You know, it is what it is. But Insomniac Games is just reliable. They just get the job done. So when you're talking about a guy who's been there for the whole duration of their existence, Ted Price, when I found out he was retiring, I'm just hoping that they will be able to keep the quality up. And I'm sure these guys that are now in control, or, you know, are going to be the heads, the new co-studio heads of Insomniac, He did make it a point that he would not turn over the rings to anybody that he did not think was going to continue to have Insomniac Games pushing at the same level that they were pushing at when he was there. So again, like I said, Mr. Jin Huang, I do know him. The other guys don't know, but I take it that what Ted Price said is true. He will make sure that he would not put the studio in harm's way and make it so that they would be compromised with their new leadership. So to that point, I'll just simply say, man, Mr. Ted Price, thank you for your gaming service, bringing us multiple great games. Resistance. I didn't play Resistance. I can't sit up here and lie to y'all, say I played it. Didn't look like a game I was going to enjoy. But for those people, I know it has a cult following. You know, Resistance, all the way up to the latest Spider-Mans. I thank you for your service. And I truly, truly hope that you enjoy your retirement and you're able to kick back and relax. But thank you again for all of the amazing memories in gaming for myself that you were a part of. Salute to you, brother. Now oh shucks, almost forgot. Doggone. Speaking of Insomniac, now I actually got this story from Noob Feed. Now this is according to a senior, this is actually, let me get this together. Okay. This is according to Insomniac Games senior creative director. His name is Brian Intera. His last name is spelled Interaha, Brian Intera. Now, he spoke about Spider-Man 3 in detail. Now, if you don't want spoilers, I got to say this. I'm going to put this caveat out there because I hate to be the one to do this. So, if you don't want to hear spoilers about this next game, about Spider-Man 3, then I would recommend that you fast forward probably about 3 or so minutes. I won't be on this story too long. So here we go. I'm going to start spoiling in 3, 2, 1. So he said that the third installment will supposedly be the series finale. Now, the game will feature Doc Ock and Green Goblin, who will play the main antagonists in this game, and Chameleon. This other name got me so excited. He said Chameleon and Carnage will be a part of your crew. Now, it's also being reported that the game is going to release sometime in 2028. Now, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, Carnage? Are you serious, Carnage? Man, brothers, I have not played a game with Carnage in a Spider-Man universe since the red, y'all remember the red Super Nintendo cartridge? Was it called Carnage? I can't quite remember. But that was the last time I've seen Carnage, to my knowledge, in a Spider-Man video game. Now, you gotta understand, you know, just so, you know, you guys can understand where I'm coming from. After the Super Nintendo era, I wasn't really in the Genesis era. Hold on. Yeah, Genesis. I wasn't really checking for Spider-Man games too much. We know that there was a couple of good ones here and there, but nah, Spider-Man games were kind of frowned upon at that point in time, you know, in the early 2000s when they were bringing out these movie tie-ins. Some of them might have been decent, but they were nowhere near the level of Spider-Man games that we have now from Insomniac. So from that perspective of Insomniac actually being behind a Spider-Man game with Carnage in it, oh, we saw what they did. What Insomniac did. And I know I said the Spider-Man 2, I like Ratchet and Clank more. Yeah, I said it. I might have, I don't know, I might have to go back on that statement, man, because I'm thinking about this one scene. Nah, I don't know, man. They might be tied. Because Ratchet and Clank is incredible. But I will say, man, and this is a bit of a spoiler too. So, fast forward again. If you haven't beat Spider-Man 2 yet and you don't want to know anything, you might have to fast forward a little bit more. But I'm going to spoil something in 3, 2, 1. Spoilers coming. When you get to that level and you play as Venom, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh, my mind was blown. The carnage. No pun intended, but the destruction that was going on. Oh my gracious to life. I said, this is the greatest thing. I mean, this is amazing. It almost reminded me of Hulk. What was it? Hulk Destruction back on the Xbox. I mean, you were doing ripsaw, man. I mean, just tearing that lab up. Graphics, everything was incredible. So I'm just imagining if they do that with Carnage, oh my gosh, this could be incredible. It could be amazing. And it's the finale. Oh man, I am so excited. 2028 is that's a good ways away. We're talking about a solid 3 years, a solid 3, because we're only in January. But I cannot wait to see how this game actually shapes up. Having doggone Doc Ock and Green Goblin as the enemies in this game. Man, come on, man. God dog. They're gonna be the antagonists in this game. Those two, Doc Ock and Green Goblin. Oh man, then you got Carnage. I'm not all that familiar with Chameleon. I don't really know too much about that brother. But they also said that some female character might be making an appearance in the game as well. I forgot her name. I forgot who she is. But they were saying it where it might be a situation where she might be joining Miles, and they may be teaming up, because we know that Miles is now the main character, and Peter Parker is kind of taking a bit of a back seat. So they were saying that maybe possibly she might be, the Miles Morales, to Miles Morales, like Miles Morales was to Spider-Man. So we'll see. I don't think I have that story either. I wish I did. I really wish I did, but I can't think of her name. But we'll see what happens with this, man. That's all we have for Spider-Man 3 thus far. And I'm sure in the near future, we will get a few more tidbits of information. But let's go ahead and let's get into the final story this week. And I actually got this story from PC Gamer. So this is really just a quick stat, because we talked about PlayStation, and how multiple gas games were canceled and all of that stuff. But according to GDC's 2025 State of the Game Industry Report, and this is an alarming number, 33% of AAA developers who responded to its annual survey are currently working on a live service game. God, no.
What did he say?
God, dog, 33%. So these jokers are not giving up. And these are AAA developers. AAA. 33% of them are still working on gas games. I tell you, I feel like gas games might have been the worst thing to happen to gaming, brother. And I know that might sound hyper diabolical right there. That might sound like, God dog, Keon, that's just crazy talk. But man, I look around and I'm like, dag, man, gas games ruined. Man, they ruined gaming to a certain degree. I mean, me as a single player gamer, and that's the only perspective that I'm talking about it from, but dag, man, now everybody is chasing this specific thing over and over and over again in a pursuit that most will fail. Just a few chosen ones actually get through, and like 90% of everybody else fails. And I just hate that this has become a thing in gaming, because it just seems to be most of these, not most, but a nice amount of developers, their goal is to get a gas game to hit and just continue to support that one game. Man, I don't know about this, but we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully this trend will eventually, die down. I don't necessarily want it to go away, because there are people that enjoy gas games, and that'd be selfish on my part to say I wish the whole genre would go away. No, not at all. I just wish that it would just die down. Where so many developers in AAA, 33%, that are working on these types of games. I just wish that they would just drop that number down drastically and just concentrate on single player games and, DLC, various other things, but just get rid of that gas narcotic, because that thing is a heck of a drug right now. But we'll see what happens, though. But anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week, which brings us to our final section of the podcast. And I want to tell you guys right now, thank you so much for being here. I truly, truly appreciate it. But let's get into it. So the question of the week is, will the Switch 2, and I know you saw it already. I know you saw it, but let's officially go over it. So will the Switch 2 be less successful? Now I'm going to tell y'all something, and I'm not going to make this long-winded because the episode is starting to get a little long. But I just want to say what I saw from the Switch 2. In short, I was not impressed, not even a little bit. Yeah, I saw where it's a possibility that the Joy-Cons, they could actually end up being like a mouse or something like that, which would be nice for RTS, but I'm not going to play a RTS. That ain't my thing. Now you talk about a first-person shooter. That might be cool, but I do just fine with first-person shooters on a controller, on a traditional controller. Doesn't make me any difference. I just don't know, man, with these price points. And these are alleged. These are not 100% backed by Nintendo. So we got to wait for their official announcement in April, April 2nd when that happens. But with the price point and the graphics, man, I don't know. You're talking about something. Now Nintendo is getting into a different conversation, because before they were always, I'm not going to say always, but they were on the lower side when it came to the price point of their console. Now you're raising the price closer to your direct competition that you don't want to be your direct competition. Because, according to y'all off doing your own thing. Y'all are not really trying to compete with them. Not their own words, my bad. They were my words. They're not trying to compete with PlayStation and Xbox. They're trying to stay in their own lane. But when you start to get your price point up to the same price as those other players, now you're starting to make it seem like, well, you got to kind of perform at that same level. It's no kinda in it. You got to perform at their level. And I can guarantee you it ain't no doggone way the Switch 2 is going to even be remotely as powerful as the Series X or a PlayStation 5. Heck, those specs that I gave, well, the alleged specs, because we don't know if they're real or not, but the person that put the specs up there, they said, and this is their wheelhouse, I think his name is D-Batch. Shout out to D-Batch. He said that this isn't even equivalent to a Series S. It's not even equivalent to a Series S. And you want to talk about almost having to spend $400, well, if you want the bundle, $500, and then on the low end, $450 allegedly. And you don't want me to compare you to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X when I can get a Series S for $300. Yeah, it might not be portable. I get all of that. That's fine. But I can get a more powerful console than you have for like almost $200 to $150 to $200 less than what you have. I just don't know I don't think the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be as successful as the first one. I do not think so. I think it's going to sell fine. I think it's going to be okay, but I just got a feeling I don't think it's going to set the gaming streets, or I should say the casual gaming streets, on fire like the original Switch did. I think it's going to be more of the same, possibly, of course it's going to be better graphics, of course. But I just don't think they're going to hit as well as the first one did. I just don't think they're going to be able to repeat that same level of success. I don't think the Switch 2 is going to be a dud. I don't think it's going to be a failure, not by any means, but I don't think it's going to reach those same heights as the original Switch. But that is the question this week. I would love to hear from you guys. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it two different ways. You can either call in at 443-627-9087 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show, and the email address is simply theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. I was your host, Keon Mitchell, and again, I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank y'all. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, before we tie this thing up and wrap a bow on it, always remember one thing. It is not about the consoles. It is about the games. So until next Wednesday, when we do it again, until then, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.